Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and I've got another quick video tonight. Just some news that I want to catch up with. There's been lots of things I've been wanting to say all week, and of course, I've been concentrating on the mushroom murder trial because that's been going on. But there are other things that are also, I think, important, and I just wanted to tell you something. It's not very often that we get good news, is it? In the true crime world, we don't get good news very often, but sometimes we do. And this is sort of, I mean, it's sad as well as good news. But this is Madeleine Kingsbury. For those of you who've been following my channel for some time, this is quite a long time ago. It's over 2 years ago when Madeleine Kingsbury went missing. She went missing over in America round about the same time that everything was going on with Nicola Bulley in St. Michael's on Wye, which most people know about. Maybe Madeleine's case wasn't quite as international as Nicola's was, but it certainly was national, and we started following it. A subscriber of mine at the time told me about it, and it was just this sort of similar case, you know, a mother gone missing. I mean, it's not exactly the same case as Nicola Bulley, and it had a completely different outcome. But yeah, she just literally disappeared, and she was, all intents and purposes, Madeleine Kingsbury, from what I can gather, was a beautiful person inside and out. And what really happened was Madeleine was moving on with her life. She met her partner, Adam Fravel. I'm not even going to put his picture up, but it's in the thumbnail. She met him quite young, you know, and they had children. And then I think Maddie started to outgrow him. You know, she was moving on with her career. She was doing well. He, in a complete other hand, was doing terribly and sort of living off her and being nasty to her and all those things. So Maddie, she had enough in the end, and she decided she was going to leave him. But unfortunately, as she was planning to leave him, she continued living with him, you know, for financial reasons, while she was trying to find somewhere else to live. And she had found somewhere else to live, and she was just about to go and live in the other place with the children. But they were, you know, they seemed to have, like, at that time, what you might call a reasonably amicable relationship. But of course, it wasn't, as it turned out, that amicable. And Maddie disappeared one day after they dropped the children off at daycare together. And then Maddie was never seen again after that. So a very long search ensued. Like, I won't go into all the details. I've linked in the description box. I've put a link to the playlist for Madeleine Kingsbury, and that'll give you the story right from day one, because we really did more or less cover it from day one. Anyway, as I say, to cut a long story short, finally, very sadly, Madeleine's remains were found, and her partner, Adam Fravel, was immediately arrested. So I think the police had suspected him right from the beginning, but, you know, they were watching him. But they didn't have enough evidence. But once Maddie's body was found, that's when they had the evidence to charge him. So it took quite long. He's only just faced trial. So it took quite a long time for it to come to trial. He was found guilty. He's been sentenced to life without the chance of parole. But very strangely, very, very strangely, in the state, I think it's Minnesota, you know, even parents who've murdered their child's mother have parental rights. And Adam Fravel, he was trying to see his children. Now, he is appealing his sentence as well. Well, he's appealing his conviction, which is everyone's right to do, isn't it? So he's going through the appeal. He's not a very nice person. He's a horrible person, actually. He looks like a toad and he acts like a toad. But anyway, turns out, though, he has himself terminated his own parental rights. That's quite unusual, because maybe the court were going to terminate them anyway. It was all going through court, because once, Maddie's family had another battle, like to keep the children with them. They didn't want the children to go to him or to his family, because then imagine your children, I mean, it's sad for the children because they've lost their mother and their father at the end of the day. I'm sure maybe Adam does love his children, but if he really loved his children, he would never have murdered their mother, would he? Wouldn't have taken their mother away from them. That's not love, is it? Hi, Geordie. That is definitely not love, but anyway, did. So let's just read through this article. I just wanted to let you know about this because I think it's very important. And of course, Maddie's, we cover so many cases. But even when we've finished a case, if you like, because once it goes to court and if the perpetrator's found guilty and sentenced, I certainly don't want to talk about the perpetrator again, but it's still important to remember Maddie. Maddie was a young woman, really, really on the brink of the rest of her life. Her life was taking off and she had her kids and she loved her kids. She had a new relationship, sort of a budding relationship. Adam took everything away from her and took everything away from her children and her family, took her away. He's a horrible, horrible person. And he just acted with contempt afterwards as well. He's never shown any remorse because he's never admitted to it, of course. Hi, Bluebell. Are you not driving, are you? Now, this is only going to be a short video because there's not much to say, really, just to say what's happened here. But I am coming back on later and I'm going to do a longer stream. I'm going to talk about Phoebe Bishop and what's happening with her. But there's so many things. Literally, I've got this list that I want to catch up on, but I don't want to lump them all together in one video, not these important things, because these people deserve their own spotlight, don't they? So let's have a look what it's got to say about this. So Adam Fravel. Why is that not? Oh, there you go. So Fravel parental rights terminated in Winona County Court. Why is it not moving? Oh, there you go. So Adam Fravel has voluntarily terminated his parental rights. I can't believe he's got any parental rights. How can you have parental rights when he actually murdered the mum? Anyway, according to Winona County documents filed last week, in December of 2024, Adam Fravel was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole for the murder of Winona woman Madeleine Kingsbury, with whom he had 2 children. And we watched, I don't know if you remember or not, some of you will remember, there was a very heartbreaking sort of CCTV of them arriving, with the children to drop them off at daycare. Madeleine looked like she knew something was going to happen to me. She just looked, maybe they'd been arguing in the car. Anyway, when Adam returned alone to pick up the children, so they dropped the children off together. And when Adam came back later that day to pick up the children, Madeleine was not with him. And also, I don't know if you remember, but there was a dog in that daycare centre. Started barking at Adam as soon as he walked through the door. That dog knew that this was an evil person that had just walked in. So in late January, David and Kathy Kingsbury, Madeleine's parents, filed to terminate Fravel's parental rights, claiming that he had failed to fulfill parental duties such as providing the children with food, shelter, clothing and the like. I can't believe he's a murderer. He's a convicted murderer. He murdered their mother. And why have these grandparents had to go through this? Anyway, at least he's done one decent thing. So on May the 27th, he terminated his own parental rights. So he's took the control off them. Of course, he is a control freak as well. But anyway, let's hope that is that showing a little bit of decency from this man, admitting that as he has been convicted of first and second degree murder, it is in the children's best interest to remain with their grandparents. So, well, they can't be with him, can they? But I suppose, they could be with his family. And this, of course, is what Maddie's family don't want. They want them with them. They don't want them going to the prison and visiting him. So the children are now ages 4 and 7 and have been in David and Kathy Kingsbury's custody since his arrest in June of 2023. So, this is 2 years ago he was arrested. Fravel is currently appealing his murder convictions. However, we know the court documents state that even if Fravel successfully appeals, his parental rights have been permanently terminated. So he's terminating his parental rights whether he wins his appeal or not. So I'm not sure why he's had this change of heart, but it's good. So according to court documents, the Kingsburys plan to adopt the 2 children. Now, this is a previous video, so this will be talking about before. So let's just have a look at it, though, because it will give you some more footage of Maddie. I love watching footage of her. She's another one of those. She just shines out as a nice person. It's so awful when these twonks take away lovely people like Maddie, because the world needs more people like Maddie.
The custody battle for the children of Madeleine Kingsbury and her killer, Adam Fravel, continues to play out in court. Kingsbury's family is asking for Fravel's parental rights to be terminated. But Fravel wants any custody decision to be held off until his appeals have been exhausted, but a judge denied that. Speaking of appeals, we told you this week Fravel officially appealed.
Look at him. Honest to God, poor Maddie, because the thought of him being the last thing that she saw on this earth, he just looks horrible. It reminds me of a toad. He walks like a toad. He looks like a toad. And of course, when Maddie first fell in love with him, she was too young. She was so young. And then she had children with him, and I'm sure she didn't regret having the children with him because she loved her children. But unfortunately, that meant she got saddled with him a little bit. And just when she was on the verge of breaking free of him and, making a better life, and he was just turning into a deadbeat, really. He wasn't even working. Just as all that was going on, he murdered her. Nice man.
Appreciate it. Thank you. We also have an update this morning to Thursday night's vehicle pedestrian crash that left one person seriously hurt. According to Rochester police, the driver accused of hitting that pedestrian, 35-year-old.
Sorry, it's gone on to another video. Let's try again.
Текущий минимальный бюджет на запуск начинается от 10 миллионов. Можно попробовать заплатить.
He'll never see life beyond the bars of his prison cell, and now he no longer has rights to his children. A jury found Adam Fravel guilty on 4 murder charges for the death of the mother of his 2 kids, Madeleine Kingsbury, back in November. Last week, Fravel admitted this conviction is the reason he voluntarily terminated his own parental rights, saying it's, quote, in his children's best interest. His 2 kids, now 4 and 7 years old, have been in the care of Kingsbury's parents, Kathy and David. But this court battle over the children between Fravel and the Kingsburys has happened in the background of Fravel appealing his murder conviction to the state Supreme Court. The Kingsburys told ABC6 today, while Fravel is focused on his appeal, they're excited to take the next steps in adopting their grandchildren. As far as that appeal goes, it's still in the discovery phase, and there's no date on whether this judge will grant the appeal in Fravel's murder case. This comes as yesterday was Madeleine's birthday. She would have been 29 years old.
Well, this Sunday, the Rochester Honkers will be hosting their
Yeah, she just had a heavenly birthday. She would have been 29, so she was 27 when that man murdered her. And, he put a towel around her head. That's how he did it. He put a towel around her head and suffocated her in their home. And he then drove her over to his parents, some property that his parents had, and hid her. And he moved her as well, because where she was found, it had already been searched. So it seems like he moved it. It was an absolute miracle that Madeleine's body was found. The policeman who found her, it was just brilliant what he did, how he must have had an instinct or something. He was searching, as I say, in an area that had been searched before. And anyway, he found her sort of stuffed in a culvert like a piece of rubbish. The mother of that man's children. But anyway, so has he had, I hope he's seen some sort of light. Maybe, being in prison is making him reflect on things. I hope so. I hope he sees Maddie's face in front of him every night before he goes to sleep. I hope he's tormented. And I hope he's tormented for the rest of his life, knowing what he did to this lovely woman, the mother of his 2 children. So anyway, I wanted to let you know about that. As I say, it's sort of, anything we report on in true crime is going to be tinged with sadness. Of course, it's sad that Madeleine, is not here, but I expect that was a nice heavenly birthday present for her, to know that he has surrendered his parental rights. So the children, that leaves it clear for the grandparents to adopt Madeleine's children. At least they'll be with, family that love them. I mean, I'm sure Adam does love them, but some people have a funny idea of what love is, don't they? See, because to him, it's like she was going to take the children away as far as he's concerned. He loves his children, so his answer to that is a murderer, their mother. It just doesn't make sense, does it? Anyway, I just thought I'd let you know. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for caring about Madeleine. And I will be back shortly with a longer stream about Phoebe Bishop. So thank you. Take care. Bye.